Understanding the concept of pre-stressing. Pre-stressed concrete structure is defined as a concrete structure where external compressive forces are applied to overcome tensile stresses caused by various loads due to gravity, wind, etc. Pre-stressed concrete was developed in order to overcome the reinforced concrete's limitation, especially on cracking, which improves shear and torsional strengths as well as protecting the reinforcement steel. In other words, it is pre-compressed concrete, meaning that compressive stresses are introduced into areas where tensile stresses might develop under working load, and this pre-compression is introduced even before the structure begins its working life. A fundamental aim of pre-stressed concrete is to limit tensile stresses and hence flexural cracking in the concrete under working condition. The fundamental concept of pre-stressing is to transform concrete into an elastic material. This concept treats concrete as an elastic material, that is, pre-stressed concrete is concrete which is transformed from a brittle material into an elastic one by the pre-compression given to it. Concrete which is weak in tension and strong in compression is compressed generally by steel under high tension so that the brittle concrete would be able to withstand tensile stresses. From this concept, the criteria of no tensile stresses was developed. It is also believed that if there are no tensile stresses in the concrete, there can be no cracks and the concrete is no longer a brittle material but becomes an elastic material. The basic principle of pre-stressing was applied to construction perhaps several years ago when ropes or metal bands were wound around wooden staves to form barrels. When the bands were tightened, they were under tensile pre-stressing, which in turn created compressive pre-stress between the staves and thus enabled them to resist hoop tension produced by internal liquid pressure. That is, band and the staves were both pre-stressed before they were subjected to any load. In the figure, it can be noticed there is left hand side, there is an wooden barrel. The circular rings are referred to as the metal bands and the brown color strips are referred to as the wooden staves. And the second figure is the wheels. The shrink fitting of the metal tires on wooden wheels indicates that the art of the pre-stressing has been practiced from ancient times. So in the previous slide, it can be clearly understood that there are abutments at the ends, that is there are two supports at the ends, and the red color band is referred to as a tendon. When we are trying to stretch the tendon by pulling from both the ends, the internal resistance is set up which acts in the direction opposite to that of the stretching. Once it is stretched, there develops a bending in the hogging direction which can be noticed in the figure 2. Once the pre-stressing procedure is completed and once the external forces are applied to the specific beam as shown in the figure 3, the beam tends to come back to its original position, that is, the beam is almost becoming flat. There are no deformations noticed here, and hence in the case of the pre-stressed concrete, the tension is developed is almost zero or it is limited to up to a level of the cracking stress.